Hey, what's up guys, John here. AP News put out an article saying that New York governor is not trying to create these vacation destinations, is one way to put it.
I know everyone wants to be done with, but it is not done with us.
She echoed the CDC director urging everyone 6 months and older to get a new.
Right, they put this September 19th. However, when you look at what just came out yesterday that's going extremely viral, I'm talking millions of views.
An appellate court ruled the state's commissioner of health is allowed to issue quarantine orders to control the disease.
Almost 3 million views. This came out late last night. And if I refresh this page, which I'll do in a second, I could almost guarantee there's hundreds of thousands of more views since I pulled this article up. It goes on to say, happening now, the New York Appellate Division has ruled in favor of Governor Kathy Hochul in a landmark case for government overreach. Rule 2.13, isolation and procedures will give the state of New York the ability to come into your home and take you away without any notice, without any of these, any of this, right? So you start to look at this, you're like, wait till I show you some of these other dots, how they connect. Wait till I show you what's happening. So you can see clearly the direction that New York is heading and what I believe many other states could be following very, very soon. I'm not saying this to scare anyone, but facts are facts. And, how we feel about things is kind of irrelevant, but if you look at the true facts, you look at the true events that are taking place, you can see things clearly. That's what's important. Seeing things as they truly are. In this video, that's what I'll do for you. Please hit the like button. When you hit the like button, YouTube will share this content to educate other people about what's really going on. And if you'd like to fix your credit, we'd love to help you at my company, GreatCreditFast.com. That's GreatCreditFast.com. If you have late payments, medical bills, charge-offs, foreclosures, bankruptcies, repossessions, any negative item on your credit report, go to GreatCreditFast.com. Click the link in the description just below this video. Schedule a free strategy session. Take a look at this. So you won't have any option to fight it. No court date, nothing. The rule has no age limit, and they can keep you as long as they'd like. The rule also allows them to treat you as they see fit, including using methods that are still, right here and not tried yet, right? This is one of the biggest abuses of power in this country's ever seen. So you start to look at this, you're like, all right, well, now they have this. So since they don't have to prove anything, there doesn't have to be any type of solid evidence, then they came out with this just 2 weeks ago. Surveillance efforts to monitor hate speech, which we through social media platforms. She goes on to say, it's painful to me as the governor of this great state that is known for diversity and how we celebrate different cultures, different religions, different viewpoints. It's painful to see the cruelty with one which New Yorkers are treating each other everywhere from college campuses to our streets to schools to playgrounds, even as if they're entering their houses of worship. Nothing that she immediately deployed to the State Department to protect our synagogues, right? Look at this. I've also announced a significant increase in funding for reference 75 mil, overall 50 mil for local law enforcement to beef up their efforts, as well as 25 mil in security grants. We are very focused on the data we're collecting from our surveillance efforts. What's being said on social media platforms, and we have launched an effort to be able to counter some of this negativity, to reach out to people when we see hate speech being spoken about online platforms. Hochul said, insisting that no New Yorker should feel that they have to hide any indications of what religious beliefs they are, right? So you're starting to see this situation, you would never imagine this being America, but now this is New York and it's happening like that overnight. Well, maybe not overnight, because if you look at how this has been ramping up, this insanity has been ramping up last, call it 2-3 years. Remember, this is last year, 3,000 NYC staff, they lost their jobs, right? Or if you look at, the 30,000 healthcare workers that also lost their jobs, right, for refusing it. So this is 30,000 healthcare workers. This was, last couple of years. So you start to look at this, and you then go over here and you look at the URL right here, nyc.gov, and this is what they've, issued for a public statement, right? This is what the entire law looks like. So you can read this yourself. It says that shall mean the physical separation and confinement of individual or group individuals who are infected or reasonably determined by the state commissioner or reasonably determined, right? And then it says for such time will prevent the limit to the reportable, right? And you read this, you start to see this means physical separation, confinement. So maybe this is maybe we're walking into some type of draconian type of nightmare. The more you look into this, the more you read it, the more you realize that, we're walking into something really, really big here. And I think they know this, because when you look at what's happening in, let's just call it New York City commercial real estate. Now, some people might say, John, how does New York City commercial real estate have to do with anything? Well, if you look at what Mayor Adams said, he said this last year in April. He said that he believes commercial real estate will see office vacancies on these properties hit until 2026. City Hall projected the budget documents released this week that it expects at least 20% of the 5 boroughs office will remain empty through 2026. So, how are they predicting this in 2022, that from 2022 to 2026, it's just going to get worse for commercial real estate? Meaning that businesses are likely going to continue to leave. Businesses are going to be pushed into a really, really challenging spot. Businesses are in trouble, and the people of New York City are in trouble. You start to look at all these things, you're like, okay, well, maybe if you look over here and you start to look at some of these new changes that are going to be coming into place as well throughout New York City, you realize that the entire city is about to go through a massive change. Everything that everybody knows about the state of New York is going through a change. Everything that everyone knows about New York City as a whole is going through a really, really big change. All of these different networks, all these different, goals, like food system network. You click on this, and it literally shows you that they're changing, food environment, food waste, governance for food, right? Supporting cities to develop food strategies, including food systems in their climate action plans, and food board and council for interdepartmental and external coordination. They want to reduce food loss by 50%. So how do you reduce food loss, right, by 50%? You probably reduce the amount of food available, right? How else would you reduce the amount of food loss by 50%? You start to look at a lot of these different goals, these different timelines. We're walking in to a nightmare in New York. That's what we're walking into, an absolute nightmare. If I own property, let's say multifamily in New York, I'd be pretty concerned, because this type of nightmare we're walking into, it's going to be one which is going to be very, very bad for the economy, very bad for small business, very bad for everyday Americans. And large corporations are going to look at this as probably the greatest opportunity ever, because if you look at what's happening in New York City as the wealth is getting sucked out and pulled out through the 99%, they're going to have to start selling their assets. If you start to look at what's happening here, if this starts to really go down, if this thing really does happen, you have to ask yourself, how are people going to be able to pay their jobs when nobody wants to go travel, nobody wants to go visit New York, tourism starts to really fade out. People, maybe some people end up getting, put here and they don't have an ability to, earn money to pay a mortgage, right? You're looking at something really, really big here. You're looking at something really concerning. And when you look here at some of these other pledges, divesting entirely from fossil fuels, right? Zero waste accelerator. Scroll down here, reducing the municipal solid waste generation per capita by at least 15% in the next 6 years. Reducing the amount of municipal solid waste disposal to landfill and incineration by at least 50% in the next 6 years compared to 2015. Like how does this happen simply? Like, how do all these goals happen seamlessly? They don't. They do not. But the concerning aspect is that you look at what all these goals mean. It means a complete restructuring of everything that we know that is normal. A complete restructuring. But I think that a lot of people are slowly kind of understanding that we're not going back to 2018. We're not going back to 2019 again. They need to get prepared for a harder world. Everything is going to get much, much, much harder. 2024 and 2025. I'm not saying this to scare anybody, but if you look at the facts, you look at what's happening. I mean, this literally just passed yesterday. Like, this just happened yesterday. They've been fighting back and forth this for the last couple of years, but it just signed in yesterday, right? So you have to ask yourself, is this realistically what the future is going to look like? Or is this all just fear and they're just signing this in for, because they want to sign it in? I would bet that it's signed in for a reason. I would bet that these pledges that are already signed in are likely going to continue to happen. I would bet if you look over, throughout America and you see that a lot of other locations in America are following similar trajectories, you're going to realize that, this is coming and this is going to be something that people need to prepare for. So you want to prepare for, your business. You want to prepare for everything, right? Like literally everything. You want to put yourself in a position to be prepared for the worst case outcome, the worst case scenario. I think that's what we're walking into, 2024, 2025. So position yourself, put yourself in the best position possible. Pay attention to a lot of the bills that are being signed in your state, in your city, in your jurisdiction and county and town. Pay attention to what's going on where you live, because this could be coming to you next. Let's have a conversation about it in the comments below. If you'd like to fix your credit, we'd love to help you at my company, GreatCreditFast.com. That's GreatCreditFast.com. I believe banks are going to start tightening up. I believe banks are going to start seeing a lot of losses coming very, very soon. If you have intentions of maybe starting a business, maybe buying land, buying real estate, maybe you want to do something, you need good credit to be able to get funding and financing for it. So if you have any issues on your credit, we'd love to help you at my company, GreatCreditFast.com. That's GreatCreditFast.com. If you have late payments, medical bills, charge-offs, foreclosures, bankruptcies, repossessions, any negative item on your credit report, go to GreatCreditFast.com. You can find more information in the link below, and I'll catch you guys on the next video.